Okay, let's get right into it. Most of us, I think, see ourselves as pretty decent people. We're fair, we're open minded, we're the polite professionals. But today, we're going to use a story to look a little deeper, to see what actually happens when all those good intentions get put to the test. You've heard this before, right? Maybe you've even said it yourself. I treat everyone the same. It sounds like the absolute foundation of fairness, doesn't it? It's this really common, well meaning idea that we're going to put under a microscope today. And that really leads us to the big question here. In the real, messy, complicated world of our jobs and our teams, is just treating everyone the same truly enough? Or is there maybe a little more to it? To figure this out, let's meet our case study. Her name is Charlotte, and she's a character who might feel incredibly familiar. Maybe she's a colleague you know, a manager you've had, or maybe she reminds you just a little bit of yourself. So, who exactly is Charlotte? Well, she's 38, a middle manager at a marketing firm. She lives a pretty comfortable life out in a nice leafy suburb. Her weekends, they're for yoga, brunch with friends, and binging true crime shows. And this is key. In her own mind, she is absolutely a liberal, open-minded person, the total picture of a modern professional. And on the surface, she's got the receipts to prove it. She went to the company DEI workshop, thought it was, interesting but intense. She's the one reposting articles about diversity on her LinkedIn. She even corrected a friend once for making a dodgy comment. And honestly, she feels really proud of these things. She sees herself as a good ally. Okay, so that's the setup. But let's move from her LinkedIn profile to a real-life meeting. We're about to see a moment that puts all of this to the test, right in the middle of a normal workday. So here's the scene. They're in a team meeting, and another colleague makes this really clumsy, kind of inappropriate comment about the hair of her junior Black colleague. You know the type of moment? It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's a classic microaggression. And Charlotte's reaction is instant, but it's all internal. She physically cringes. She feels that knot form in her stomach. She knows, 100%, that the comment was out of line, and you can just feel that awkwardness hanging in the air. And this is the whole point. Despite that cringe, despite knowing it was wrong, Charlotte stays completely silent. The moment to speak up, to say something, to support her colleague, it just passes. Later, of course, she replays it in her head, and she starts to rationalize it. She tells herself, well, I didn't want to make a big scene or embarrass anyone. She concludes, it just wasn't my place. Her need to keep things comfortable to avoid conflict, it won. So why? Why does a person like Charlotte, with genuinely good intentions, just freeze? Well, to understand that gap between what she believes and what she did, we need a bit of a framework. What we're seeing here is a perfect example of what some call stage +1, or emerging awareness. A person in this stage really believes in fairness, but they will do almost anything to avoid personal discomfort. And they usually have a pretty limited awareness of their own privilege and how it shields them from things. And this right here, this is the internal tug-of-war of stage +1. On the one hand, she believes in these big, wonderful ideas like fairness for all. But on the other, she actively dodges the messy, uncomfortable actions that actually make those ideas real. Things like talking about equity or just sitting with her own discomfort for a minute. The framework uses this really powerful metaphor for it, the cave of privilege. Just picture it. It's a place that's warm, it's comfortable, it's familiar. The walls are literally built out of good intentions. The floor is paved with niceness. But that very comfort is what blocks out the light of truth and the possibility of any real growth. Look, the point here is not to just blame Charlotte. It's about understanding the way forward. So how does someone in her position start to move out of that comfortable cave and into a place of active learning? At work, it takes some intentional action. Things like engaging in real co-learning partnerships, not just top-down mentoring, or maybe keeping a journal to honestly ask, what is it that's holding me back? And maybe the most important one, practicing active listening, attending spaces where you just listen to the experiences of others without feeling the need to speak. And this work, it definitely doesn't stop when you clock out. Growth means challenging your own personal echo chamber. Maybe it's a 30-day challenge to only read books or watch films from different perspectives. It means having those awkward, hard conversations with your family and friends. And it means finding your voice to say, hey, that joke's not really okay, even when it's tough. So, we've spent a lot of time inside Charlotte's head,
talking about her intentions. But now we have to flip the script. Let's look at what really matters, the impact her silence has on the people around her.
Listen to this. This is a quote from one of Charlotte's colleagues, and it just hits so hard. She means well. See, they get it. They see her good intentions. But there's that giant but. I can't be real with her. They know deep down that when push comes to shove, she's not someone who would actually have their back.
And this right here, this is the massive disconnect. On one side, you have how Charlotte sees herself, as a trusted, fair, safe pair of hands. But the reality for her colleagues, it's completely different. They see her as awkwardly performative, as someone who avoids the hard stuff, and ultimately, as not a true ally.
So, what's the real takeaway here? Charlotte's story shows us that her silence wasn't neutral. It wasn't a passive act. It actively kept an unjust, uncomfortable situation going. Her inaction had a real impact. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. Not for Charlotte, but for us. What would it take for you to speak up?